Hey, how you doing? This is Ken Kinter, and this is day 469 of my journey through leukemia. So it's been a long time since I've posted, and I apologize for that. Usually that means nothing's going on, and that hasn't been true. There's been a lot of things going on, a lot of good and a lot of bad, but the good definitely outweighs the bad. So my wife and I are very fond of calling this little journey a roller coaster because it has some very high highs in it and some very low lows. So far we've been lucky to have more of the highs, but a fair share of both. For example, some of the high highs we've experienced is that we got permission. I was doing well enough that we were able to go on vacation. We were able to travel. Prior to that, I'd been on sort of a travel ban. So we went to New Orleans on basically 4 days' notice with no forethought or planning or anything like that. And of course, we had a great time because New Orleans was great. Spent my birthday there. Also, a nice thing having another birthday. I appreciate them a little more than I used to. So, despite not much planning and being very improvisational, we had a good time and I was in good health and felt well. So, we were kind of strong through it. Don't remember taking any. I think we took one nap. Well, I took one nap on a travel day, but that was about it. So, that was pretty good. Also, just coming off a high, which was being able to go see my favorite band, King's X, 3 nights in a row, complete with overnight stay in Pennsylvania, a little vacation there, which was really really nice. I'm sure Paige enjoyed being away, and I enjoyed being away. It's my favorite band. Probably seen them going on 50 times now, and everyone was best, as the song says. So that part was also cool. We've also gotten to go up to New York City to go to a couple favorite restaurants, which was also a fave. Going to New York is one of those things I dreamed about while I was in the hospital. So that was very good. You can see what's going on here with the hair. We're at the like 7 month mark with the hair, still curly, sort of helmet like. I don't know if this is staying. I've heard it stays for months. I've heard it stays curly for a year, and then I hear it stays curly forever. I would love to donate my hair again, so I'm not really thinking about cutting it, which is why I look a little wild at this point. I'm really hoping to get a hold of it at some point and be able to continue donating, but we'll see. I'm just happy to have my eyebrows back again, man. I didn't like looking surprised all the time. So, and another high is going to be making a nice memory with my um, dad, which will be we're going to see a Premier League soccer game between his favorite team, Arsenal, and one of the candidates for my favorite team, Liverpool. Don't tell him that we may be on opposite sides of this. I like Arsenal too, so that's no sweat for me. So lots of highs. Now, the lows have been that my blood work has crashed a few times to the point where they've had to stop treatment. I did the infusion treatment inpatient. That was my 8 out of 11 admissions I had last year. And I've been out of the hospital since mid-December, and now we're right at the end of July. I did really well tolerating that. I've been less tolerant of the outpatient part. They've had to stop me over and over and over again. Usually it's because of my ANCs, which is a type of white blood cell. When that gets too low, they stop it. So they do full stop. And to be honest, there's a little blessing in that because I feel better off the medication. But of course, this is supposed to be preventing leukemia from coming back. So that's an issue. So I had very low, critically low ANCs for about a month. And that means I'm not supposed to go anywhere, not supposed to see anybody. The technical term is neutropenic, but it means I basically am defenseless against anything. And I wasn't very good with that. I kept working, I kept going out, I kept doing things. I mean, I was careful and I wore a mask and I tried to take really good care of myself around people. However, I just couldn't put myself on a full lockdown again. So that stopped, and that also meant another biopsy. And some of you know how wonderful that is. When you are a leukemia patient, that means they are drilling into the back of your hip, somewhere off to one of the sides of your tailbone, and that is not a lovely experience. And I've had about 3 of those so far, at least maybe 5, and they're about as much fun as you would think they are. I'm sure some of you may be familiar with biopsies in other locations, and I don't know how much fun that is, but the bone one isn't very good. It's kind of like they're drilling for oil in your backside, and they occasionally find it. So anyway, but the good news is all the biopsies have been negative. So That's my attitude. You can keep looking. Just don't, I just hope there's nothing for you to find. So that part has been good. So the blood work is a roller coaster. The good news is I have felt well through the whole thing, felt strong. I nap, and a lot of that is preventive. Just want to make sure I got my energy up and taking time for self care. But been napping. My appetite is good. I've actually put on all of the weight that I lost. During the active phase of the illness, I lost. I think I lost 36 pounds in 6 weeks, and I've put all that back on. Now, that's not necessarily a good thing. I'm back up to around 250, which is way too big for where I'm supposed to be. And I'm suffering a significant lack of motivation to lose it because when I couldn't eat anything, it was dropping all sorts of weight. It was really scary. So it's kind of nice to have a little extra. However, my idea of a little extra is like 20 to 30. So that's not necessarily so good. So we're going to have to get a handle on this weight thing. But I'm not going to put my body or myself under stress to do it. So we're just going to get a little smarter with our eating habits and do a little bit more exercise. And I have a dog that needs walking, so that part will work. So that's what we're going to do. Um, so that's kind of the plan. Everything's been back to work full time, back to doing everything I was doing before. Traveling was the missing piece. We've even talked about how traveling will work overseas because I've got a trip to Egypt I'm overdue for, and I would love to be able to add something on to that, to be able to recreate some of the trips that we took before, going back to Europe or going back to Tahiti or something like that. Where we honeymooned some 21 years ago. Also, just celebrated our anniversary, which was nice. And one thing that even my wife does not know about yet. Well, the first part of this she knows about. During the course of me losing all my weight and going in and out of the hospital and all this stuff, I lost my wedding ring. I know I'm not the only person to do this, but this doesn't make me feel like any less of a dope. I dropped a lot of weight. The ring was fitting very loose. And in the last year, with all of these events, I've been taking my ring on and off more than I ever have. So somewhere it and me got separated, and I hope it's going to turn back up again. But it felt weird walking around without a wedding ring on for the first time in many years. So this is actually the first time this is being seen because I just got it. So this is the new one. She hasn't even seen it yet, and she will right after this. It's got koa wood and mother of pearl, and it's very different from the one I had originally. In the event that I find it again, this one actually reminds me much more of the honeymoon. It has much more of a Hawaiian and Tahitian feel to it. So that was how I worked it this time. So anyway, so I have a ring again. So now I'm officially married again, right? That's a very nice reward for my wife who's gone through all this shit that I lose the wedding ring along the way, but that's kind of how these things go. But anyway, all else is well. Music, travel, life, it's all going on. Even with medical treatment and all the other stuff, it makes life a little more complicated, but it's working out well. And I cannot begin to say how grateful I am for everyone who has prayed for me and sent their best wishes along and supported me and supported us through this whole journey. That is just, I mean, you talk about a debt that cannot be repaid, despite what will be my best efforts to do so. And I hope I have a long time to figure it out going forward. But that's all been wonderful. I appreciate you watching. I appreciate the support I've gotten from people out there. That's been really, really appreciated. How friends, neighbors, family, total strangers, other members of this wonderful fellowship who I meet all the time now. Um, it's really interesting. I call this the fellowship that no one wants to be part of, but there's some wonderful people in it, and we all support each other. And I feel like I'm taking my place in that experience, supporting other people who are going through this journey, who are new through it. I'm already talking to people through the chemo process and other people who've been diagnosed with this and that. And I like to think that me having a big mouth and being willing to talk about all this stuff helps reduce the fear for someone else. And of course, I hope the idea that I'm still around serves as a message that, hey, look, man, this isn't an immediate death sentence. You fight this, you can go through it and go on with life and do what you do. We all have an expiration date at some point, but it doesn't have to be now, and it doesn't have to be from this. That's basically the takeaway. So anyway, I wish all of you well wherever you are. I'm going to try to be better at keeping these videos going, but I'm bouncing them out with life instead of with admissions, which is a good thing. So again, wish you all well, all the best, and I'll be checking back in with you again soon. Take care.